Hey everyone, welcome back to the next video in the lunchhourweb.com web series. I'm happy to have you join me today. What we're covering is going to be a YouTube intro video. What you'll see is, hopefully, here in a minute, I'm going to go and play this intro video and show you how to create it. Okay, so what you just saw is what we're creating today. That's called a YouTube intro video. Just sort of shows you what, always a video that plays every time, sort of introductory. This is who you're watching. Kind of has a little bit more professionalism. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to be putting a lot of stuff on YouTube. Now, of course, this may not apply to you, so if it doesn't, feel free to move on to the next video in the series. If it does, hopefully this helps. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is bring up a web browser. And we're going to be creating this video in a program called Blender. This is an animation program. Go blender.org and we're going to go to download. This is a really neat free program. You just have to install it for whatever Windows or Mac or Linux, whatever you have. I'm going to go ahead and install the installer. So let this run. So it's going to take about a minute to install. So I won't make you guys sit here and watch this thing download. So I'll just pause it, and once it's done installing, I'll start the video again. Okay, so the program just finished installing. I'm going to go ahead and click this here to open it, and it's going to start the installation process. Step me through the wizard. Go ahead, when you have time, definitely read through the EULA, end user license agreement, because we all do, and decide where you want to install it, and go ahead and install. Okay, so it just took a few minutes to install, and once it's done, you're going to see this Blender set up. Go and finish to exit the wizard, and let's go ahead and shrink down this browser. We now have a little Blender icon on our desktop. I'm going to go and press enter to run this. And I'm going to resize the program to match our screen size. Okay, and what you're going to see here is it's starting up. This is Blender version 2.78. And it's going to have in here some things you can do, recover your last session if you need to start on, obviously if you can save a file and start again later. We don't have any sessions started. So I'm going to come up here to go to File. And actually I don't need to. It's already giving me a new file. You can press New at any time to create new versions, save your versions of Blender that you're working in. But when you start a new scene, this is what you're going to be brought up to. Now, I'm not a Blender I'm not very knowledgeable in Blender. I don't know it inside out, and this isn't meant to be a Blender tutorial. What I want to really show you is how you can create an intro video using Blender, and I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks along the way. This program can do so much more than what I'm just showing you, but I want to show you some basics to get started. There's tons of stuff out there on YouTube or out on Google. Just do a search and you can find much more information on there. What you'll notice is this is when you log in, this is your scene, and you're going to notice a few elements in the scene. You obviously have this little cube in the middle, just starting off, and this cube can be moved. You can also right click and drag it around, and you'll also have a camera, and I'm using my right mouse button to select objects, and the camera is going to be what you view. This is going to be obviously what you see when you render your animation. So if you move your cube around and you record it and twist it and spin it, do whatever, change the shape, it's going to record all that from this angle. Let me come back out of view and see the whole scene again. Right clicking over here, this is going to be a light source. So what this is going to do, this is going to project light onto the object. So this side will be lit up, and on the opposite side will be dark. Now if you have click the middle button of your mouse, you're able to move around in the scene. You're able to go above the object, below the object, and see this plane. Now this is something that you probably learned in high school, I think it's geometry, where you have the x-axis over here, where the object can go left and right on the x-axis, excuse me. Also have the y-axis going up and down, or top to bottom on this grid. And then you'll also have a z-axis, and z-axis allows it to go above or below, up and down on your grid. Now that's going to come important here in a little bit, because I'm going to actually type in axis coordinates to make it put objects exactly where I want them. So let's go ahead and start with our video. I'm going to go ahead and remove this this cube, so I don't want that to be part of my animation. I'm going to leave my camera on here, and I'm going to leave this light source on here as well. I'm going to come over to the left hand side. There's a tab called Create, and I'm going to create text. Okay, and you'll see my text comes down here, and if I press tab, I'm able to change my text. So I'm going to put in lunchhourweb.com, press tab again, and it's going to select the object. Again, I can use my left cursor to move my left mouse button to move it around and find where I want to put it. But instead, I want this to snap right to the X and Y axis. So I'm going to click this little plus sign up here. I'm going to say I want it to be at X0, Y0, Z0. Notice it puts it right in, just using my scroll wheel on my mouse to zoom in and out, puts it right on this corner down here. I also want to rotate this up a little bit. I believe it's this one right here. If I press 90, nope, not that one. I can never remember the XYZ rotations. Let's go to X rotation 90. There we go. So now it's vertical up and down. I'm not quite done with this. I do want to change the font that I'm using. And to do that, I have my Lunch Hour Web selected. And let me go ahead and expand some of these windows some more. With your font selected, go over here to the F. Scroll down, and you're going to see your font section. You can click right here on this little folder icon to open it up. You're going to go to your C drive, Windows, Fonts, and then you can select from any font in here. Let me see. I was playing with this earlier. I think I'm going to go with Gothic. Okay, this is actually Century Gothic if you're looking in a different like Word program, and it's going to change what type of font that I use. Beyond this, I also don't want the font to be gray. So still on the F, no, I'm sorry, go over to the right, you'll see this little circle icon. You can select that there, and we're going to give this a new material. Click that plus sign, and now I can change the color of my text right here. So I don't have it in front of me, but what I want to use is one of my colors that, of course, are my company colors, my business colors. So let's go over to the desktop. We'll open up Lunch Hour Web and images, logos, and here's my color scheme. You remember this little color palette that we made on the beginning. Let's go ahead and give it this. Well, we can always change this later, but let's give it this one, 638 DC4. And 8 DC4, press enter, and there we go. We have this grayish blue. I'm going to also come down here to back to the F, and I'm going to change the depth and extrusion, excuse me. So you notice right now this is like paper thin text right here, but I'm going to actually make it a little bit more deep. Notice how it's becoming thicker. And let's go to 0.025. And I'm going to extrude it some as well. And when I extrude it, it also changes the shape of the text a little bit. And I want a resolution that one makes these You see how there's sort of angles in here? It just sort of smooths out the entire object. So now I have my text in this nice gray. I'm going to move this back a little bit so we see a little bit more of our screen. And I also want to, with this object still selected, I'm going to come over here to Tools. I'm going to duplicate. Now once I've duplicated it, you see now I have a second one. So it just created an exact copy. So I'm going to select this exact copy, and now I'm going to come over and I want to change the color of this copy, okay? So we're going to come up here, and now we are going to select a new material. And we're going to change the color to be, let's just make it a little bit whiter. Would that work? Get rid of material 1. There we go. So now we got the white and we have a blue version. We want this to be on top. So I'm going to change the location 0, 0, 0. And then I'm going to come back to my F and I'm going to actually make this a little bit smaller. So let me find the spot, and change my extrude and my depth. So first I'll just change my depth to be a little bit smaller, and then extrude will be a little bit bigger. Actually, I want my extrude to be a little bit smaller and my depth to be a little bit bigger. So now what you'll notice is that I have sort of this look and feel. Now I can always come back up here and deselect it, so now it looks a little bit, don't have those yellow selection points on there. So this is what my text looks like now, and I can play with the size. Let me maybe just make this a little bit bigger, depth a little bit bigger, and my extrusion a little bit smaller. And I think that looks pretty good. Maybe resolution, a little bit cleaner resolution. All right. Okay, I'm also going to rename these just to make it a little bit easier. LHW.com 2. Okay, so if I ever need to know, my second is the white and my first one is the blue. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out a little bit and I'm going to move my light source. So you can again just click and drag. This one, my light source, I'm not as worried about. I actually kind of want it closer over here. Your light source won't be seen in the video, but you will see its reflection, or it's how it shines against the text. So actually, kind of hard to see, this COM will be a lot brighter than down here over the left because it's a lot closer to light source. I'm going to duplicate this light source as well. I'm going to put one in the back. So let's move it all down here. And you can see how moving it manually actually makes it a little bit tough. Whoops. Press escape, selected the wrong item. There we go. Whoops, selected the wrong item again. Alright, this is what I want. And you know what, let's just use this. Let's go x1, y1, z.5, 0.5. And that's going to put it all the way up here, closer to the lunch. That's a good spot for it. And actually let's do y of 2. Alright. So now we have a light source both in the front and in the back. So the last part we're going to do is we're going to move our camera. And we want our camera to be down here looking at our text. So you notice if you come down to view, you can go to camera, and this is what we're currently recording. I actually want to move this back. Let's see, we probably want it to be on the x-axis to be about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is about 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About 7. The length is about 7 squares wide. So we divide 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. Y-axis, we want to come back maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's come back 7 here. And our Z-axis, we want to be 0.5. And actually that needs to be -7. I'm on the wrong side. There we go. So now I'm in about the right place I want to be, but I'm pointing the camera in the wrong direction, so I just need to rotate this. Let's turn all these to 0. I can never remember. And let's go change X to 90. There we go. So 90-degree rotation, our camera is pointed right at our text. So let's go ahead and view from the camera's perspective. And I notice I'm a little bit too close, so let's come back here. Let's go to -7.5, -8. That's really close. I need to come over to my right just a little bit, so let's go to 3.75. Ooh, almost 3.6. You notice I'm just a guessing game right here for the most part. We'll go to -8.1, and I think that'll get everything in the video. So I'm actually going to write that down because I'm going to come back here at the end of my video. So this x-axis is 3.6, y-axis is -8.1, and my z-axis is 0.5. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to come back here, and now we can start our video. So what you'll have notice at the bottom is a timeline, and the timeline is sort of like, well, it's just a timeline. When the video starts to play, you notice this timeline moves along, and then anything we do in our scene is going to happen at events in this timeline. So let me go and bring it back to the beginning, scene number 1, and I'm going to go to Object, Animation, Insert Keyframe, Location, Rotation, Scale. And what that's going to do is going to lock everything where it's at this frame. So the very first frame, actually frame number 1, it's going to lock everything exactly as it is. Come over here to the camera. Looks like a not a video camera, but a regular point and shoot camera. You can come down here and you can notice that you can set your frame rate. Frame rate right now is 24 frames per second. I'm going to leave it at that. But what that means is for every 24 seconds that passes, you'll have about 1 second of video. So you have 24 frames every second. So I'm going to initially start. This is what I want to be the very first shot when the video starts, and I'm going to leave that to happen for about the first second so people can read that lunchhourweb.com. So I'm going to come to Animation, Insert Keyframe, Location, Rotation, Scale. So I did 1 at the 1 frame mark, and then it came up to 24 frames. And I didn't change anything. I just inserted another keyframe, and that just means that nothing's going to happen in my scene for that first second. Over the next second or so, I want the camera to move. So let's go ahead and let's get out of the view. And I want the camera to move to be about, let's zoom in over here. And it's sometimes find it easier just to set the height. Let's set our X over to about 7. That's fine. Our Y to be -4. View it from the camera's angle. And let's go ahead and rotate it to our left a little bit. Come a little bit closer. And I believe that's Z. I can never remember. There we go. It is Z. Let's go 25 degrees. So now we got a little bit back over. And let's come actually a little bit closer. -1. Let's set this 100. Oop. So you know what you notice is what I'm doing is I'm actually just playing around from the camera's perspective, get it to about where I want it to go by messing with these X, Y, Z rotation and locations. Come off of our camera, and you notice something I should have mentioned earlier is you have these little shortcut keys as well. So if you have a little 9 or 10 keypad to the right of your keyboard, you can just use those quickly to jump in and out of the camera view. But what I want to happen is you notice that on my screen, my camera is now right there. and I'm about 48 seconds, so it's going to take about, let's go ahead and make it exactly, oh man, shoot. I needed to insert a keyframe before I did that. Oh well, I'm gonna have to set that again, that's okay. So I was at about x of 7, y of -1, z still about 0.5. Let's view it from the camera's view. I'm gonna rotate it. I believe z was about 25, and that was about 70. And let's come back here, -1.5. and 7.5. Yeah. So this isn't quite exactly what I had before, and that's okay. Come to Object, Animation, Insert Keyframe, Location, Rotation, Scale. So now, if we start at the beginning and hit this little play button, you're going to notice that it stays there for a second, then it shoots over here. Now I haven't done anything else, so I'm going to, my next spot, what I think I want it to do is to just sort of go past the text from right to left, so it ends up about the lunch. So I can just move my x-axis to be about 1. And actually I don't want to do that. I need to move my keyframe first. So let's take about 1.5 seconds to do that. So at 48 plus 24 is 72, plus another 12 is about 84. Hopefully my math is about right. Come up, change my keyframe to be out here. We're going to come down to x being 1. And let's just view what it looks like first to make sure it's about what we want. That looks pretty good. Object, Animation, Insert Keyframe, Location, Rotation, Scale. So as you guys can imagine, if I jump all the way back to the beginning, looking from my camera's perspective, I can click the play. It's just going to sort of shoot across. I'm going to stop. You can use these double arrows with the line to jump to the very beginning or very end of your scene. You can also use these just double arrows to jump forward one keyframe at a time. So I again find it a little bit easier to come out of the camera view. What I want next to happen is I want the camera to sort of twist around the text. Okay? So come out here about 1 second, maybe not quite 1 second, and I'm going to come up over, let's come about 2.5. Now I want x or y to be 0, to be almost right underneath it, and the z to be about let's go -2. And I want it to point straight up. And that's probably, looks like x rotation of 180. So let's go ahead and view what that looks like from the camera. Yeah, and I think that looks pretty neat. So we're going to try this out. Object, Animation, Insert Keyframe, Location, Rotation, Scale. Let's just jump back and see how this plays. So it's going to come down like that. Come down pretty quick actually. So now I'm going to come back, and now it's going to be, we're going to come back over and looking at it from the back. So again, count your squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's come about 5 for x. Actually, let's make that about 4. Y is now going to be up about 2. Z is going to be 0.5, so it's just barely above. My x rotation is going to be 90. Y rotation, let's try 180. No, that's not right. Don't mess with your y, that turns it upside down. And our z location is 180. So view from the camera. It looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and jump that up to about 3. There we go. And I clicked something over here. Got rid of all my toolbars. That's okay. Object, Animation, Insert Keyframe, Location, Rotation, Scale. Now I want it to sort of come over. So it's going to twist around. we want it to twist some more. Well, how about let's more turn it. Actually, let's come straight through. About 137 seconds divided by 24. So I'm a little over 4 or 5 seconds. Let's go ahead and let's come back over here. Now we're going to be a little bit slower. I'm going to have it twist around like this. Maybe come through the O or something. So I'm going to have it come over here. Let's do X of 6, Y of 0. The height's still pretty good. Rotation of X, let's go ahead. Let's leave it about 75, so it's pointing down a little bit. Z, we're going to change that to be 90. There we go. What's our view here? Well, we'll try it out. I think it's worth a shot. Insert keyframe. Whoops. Insert keyframe, location, rotation, scale. All right, so let's jump back from the beginning. We're looking at it from the camera's perspective, and let's just see what it looks like. Well, that's pretty cool. So about here, let's go ahead and transition to our next section, and let's go ahead and bring it X7, Y, -3, Z, leave that 0.5. Our X rotation, let's set it up to 85, so it's going to zoom a little bit. Actually, no, we'll put it back at 90. Our Z rotation, let's do 110. Whoop. I was going to do 110, I did 11, but actually I think I want closer to 45. View again from our camera. That's pretty cool because just cutting off the lunch hour. So let's go ahead and change that to 6.75. I kind of have it like that, just that lunch hour web. And a little bit. There we go. Now I got rid of that period. I think that looks pretty cool. And then lastly, what I'm going to do for the rest of the frame, it's be about 10 seconds. Let's go ahead and let's move our camera all the way back to the beginning. So I wrote that down, 3.6, -8.1. and 0.5. This was at 90 and Z was at 0. There we go. Insert another keyframe. And then I want it to stay on here for at least another second. So I'm going to change my end frame to be 250. 24, about 264, 270. It doesn't really matter. Exactly to be the end. This makes our timeline a little bit longer. Move back to the beginning. This is what it's going to look like. Come across, zoom. Not too bad. Actually, what I'm watching here is I think I might add another keyframe right about here. See how right about here it doesn't. Let me pause that, sorry. I kind of like that. Kind of want to pause it there just for maybe a half second or so before it starts to transition away. So let's take 184 plus about 12, about 196. I'm going to write these down just so I can 6.4, -2.5, 0.5, 90, 0, 45. So I'll come up here to 196, just counting these frames down here. 6.4, 2.5, 0.5, 90, Y is 45. There we go. All right, so now sort of get an idea of what this looks like. I like it. I think it looks pretty neat. So the last step we want to do is we want to add audio to this video. To do that, you come over to this little icon over here, and you're going to go to Video Sequence Editor. And this is going to bring up another looks like timeline, and we're going to go to Add Sound. What we're going to need to do is insert sound. Well, I haven't saved sound. What I did is bring up another web browser. I used GarageBand on my iPhone, and I created my own sound effect. And the reason I did that is because you don't want to use any sound that has a copyright on it. So if you use music from, top 40 song, your favorite song, whatever, you have copyright. Your video, all of your videos can now be taken down because you're using songs unlawfully. So I wouldn't go to any, you can pay for free sound effects and stuff, but I also found that if you make music using the GarageBand app, there's probably tons of other apps for Androids or maybe even for the PC as well. And it said that you can, any song that you create, you can use. You just can't export individual clips of sounds from the app and then resell those or use those individually. But you can put it together just like a musical instrument, create whatever music you want, and do it that way. Anyway, long story short, sorry, got off a little tangent there. What I want to do is I created a GarageBand app, exported it, and sent it via email to myself. And here we go. This is the intro music. I'm going to go ahead and download. And let's go ahead and show in the folder. Should show my downloads folder. And download it as zip. I can just extract that. Here we go. Let's just move that up here to the downloads folder. Get rid of that, and I don't need this zip folder anymore. Over here in Blender, I can now add that. So that's just under Users, Pal2 Downloads. Actually, let's just move it over to our desktop. Might be easier to find. All right, go to Add Sound from the desktop. Add sound strip, and what it's going to do, it's actually going to cut it off. Even though my sound clip is longer, I'm not sure how long, I think it might be on loop, about 18 seconds long, and my video clip is only a little over 10 seconds long. That's okay, it's going to cut it off. So now, if I come back to my 3D view, if I play it, you should hear music playing in the background. Just like this. And then you can play with the length. You can try and match up your keyframes to match your music and so on. You can do a lot more and make it look exactly like you want. Before I compile, let me get out of the camera view. You'll notice that I have a gray sky, sort of a gray background here. This is going to affect how the video looks and displays. This is your world. I actually want to change that to be completely black. And now when I view it from the camera angle, actually it still shows gray here. When I actually go to compile the video or create a video, it's not going to have that. It's going to be a completely black background. It'll just look a lot better. So now we are ready to actually create the video. So we come over here to the camera icon and we can click render your animation. Before you do that, you actually want to set how it works. So let me move my face over here, my webcam, and I want this to save. Let's go and save it to my desktop just for now. And I want to change it from ping because that's actually going to save it as a bunch of images. We change it to MPEG. Depending on what you're using it for, let's open up our encoding or format. I want to change to also be MPEG 4, the codec of H.264. Then my audio codec, that's going to be for my sound. I'm going to change that to be AAC. Leave everything else as it is. And now I can click this animation button. What this is going to do is it's going to render the active scene. Starts here. This is where that black background comes in. You notice how let me move this over. The .com has a lot more light than the lunch, although that still is lit up. And it's going to step through one frame at a time. So it's going to do this for about 270 frames. So this may take it a few minutes. So I'm going to go and pause the video. You can see what's going on now. It's just going to keep doing this for a few minutes, and then when it finishes, I'll start the video again and we'll see what the end product looks like. Okay guys, so the animation just finished and now we're left at this screen right here. I'm going to go ahead and shrink this down. Let's go and watch the video and see what it looks like. So let's get back to our desktop. And here we go. This is what our video looks like. Just has a weird random name to it, and that's okay. I can rename that later. Open it up and resize for our video. See what the finished product looks like. Maybe. There we go. Whoa, it's jumping a lot. All right, let's watch that again. So I can see my video is actually way too short. I need to come back over here and pause it. When I'm getting to this section over here, I need to make this be a lot slower. So, but that's something I can modify, and I will modify here in a little bit. We'll just bring back up Blender, and I'm going to best move these key points. Now you can't really move a key point, but what you'll have to do is, let's come back here to our 3D view. There we go. So I'm at this key point right here. This is all good so far. What I don't want is this key point right here. I want this to be a lot farther out. So about 1.5 seconds. I'd probably want that to be at least 2 seconds long. So from 48, keyframe 48, I need to go up to about 96, if not 100. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write these down. 1, -1.5, 0.75, and then 70, 0, 25 degrees. So I just wrote down these right here. I'm going to jump up to about keyframe 100, and I'm going to type these in so my keyframes are exactly where my camera is exactly where I want it. All right, just to make sure it looks about right. Perfect. So now I'm going to animation, insert keyframe, location, rotation, scale. And come back here, I'm going to remove this keyframe. I think I can just press delete. Maybe not. I know there's a way to remove. Okay, delete keyframe, there we go. So now, when it's coming here, let's just watch it. Makes a lot slower of a jump there. Now I'm gonna end up doing the same for this. I'm gonna copy these over, move it up maybe 12 keyframes, move everything up about where it's at. Because I liked about the rest of the look of the video, but I now just notice I need to slow stuff down. Okay, so now I've gone through and I've changed all my keyframes some more. I did change my timeline. I've added the end frame up to 300 frames, so it's a little over 10-12 seconds in length. and I ran it through the animation, the Blender render animation. So I created a new video. So let's go ahead and watch that video now. It's now down here. Let's go ahead and open that up. Alright, and there he is. That's going to be our intro video now. And again, this is just a real quick video. I may add other elements to it later. I may work on the timing some more. May actually spin or do other color changes to the object. You guys, it's very flexible on what this program can do. But what I've done is create an intro video, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm going to go ahead and add this into YouTube, and it should now be in all my videos going forward. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I'm going to put more links to the Blender product software that I discussed earlier, that we downloaded earlier. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. If you liked, hopefully this helped you out. Like the video, reach out to me with any questions, and everybody have a great day. Thank you.